Linear equation into two variables is written in the standard form of ex plus by equals c. In our previous video, we discussed also how are we going to graph linear equation in the Cartesian plane. We also discussed how are we going to determine the slope of a line by just the two given points. Is there another way of writing linear equation into a different form? Just stick around and I will teach you how to graph linear equation into another method and to write linear equation into two variables into a different form. If you are new to this channel, kindly hit the subscribe button and the notification bell for you to be updated every time I will upload new math videos made easy for you. Slope-intercept form. Before we will continue with our lesson, let us know first what is meant by an intercept. So, let's illustrate this one through a number line. As we all knew that Cartesian plane is divided into four quadrants, the first, second, third, and fourth quadrants. What if the points will be located along the y-axis or along the x-axis? Let's say we have this point, we also have this point, we also have this point. How do we call these points that fall along the y-axis? And we call it as y-intercept. Similarly, we call it as the x-intercept represented by small letter a that classified as the points that fall along the x-axis. If we may label the coordinate of this point, this is 0 and 5. So this coordinate is 0 and 2. This coordinate is 0 and negative 2. What have you noticed to the coordinate of x as the point is located along the y-axis? So commonly, the value of x here is always 0. So that is why layman's term, y-intercept is the coordinate of y when x is equal to 0. Since y-intercept is coordinate, so therefore we can represent the coordinate as 0 and b. So suppose this point, the coordinate is negative 4 and 0. This is 3 and 0. And this is 5 and 0. So as you can see, the coordinates of y when the points lie along the x-axis is always 0. So therefore, x-intercept also is the coordinate of x when y is equal to 0. Now, let's derive the slope-intercept form of the equation of the line. Suppose we have this point, okay, that lies along the y-axis. So we call it as the y-intercept. So this coordinate will be represented as 0 and b since we did not know yet what is the coordinate of y. Suppose we have another point here and we call it as point x and y. So if we connect these 2 points, now we can have the line. So the formula in finding the slope by the symmetric property of equality, so this equation, if a is equal to b, there we can say that b is equal to a. So therefore, we can interchange the places of the m and this expression to this term. Suppose we have these 2 points. So in finding the slope, given these 2 points, the y-intercept and this point, this is our first point and this is our second point. This is our y sub 2, this is our x sub 2. So this is our y sub 1 and this is our x sub 1. Substitute it to the formula. So therefore, y sub 2 is y minus b all over x minus 0. Further simplification, x minus 0 is x. This would be y minus b all over x. And that is equal to m. So to solve rational equation, we have to get rid of the denominator. How are we going to do this? We have to multiply both sides of the equation by the LCD. The LCD is, if you multiply y minus b all over x by x, so x will be cancelled out. So what is left is just y minus b. Then multiply x times m, so that would be mx. So rewrite the equation by addition property of equality. So we can transpose this b to the right side of the equation. So this our equation would be y is equal to mx plus b. So this equation is the so-called slope-intercept form or the y form of the equation. Why is it y form? Because the left side of the equation is just y and its coefficient is positive 1. All other terms in the linear equation be placed at the right side of the equation. So if the equation now is written into the slope-intercept form, the coefficient of x, which is m, is the slope, and the b here, the constant, will be the y-intercept. How are we going to transform the linear equation into two variables from standard form to slope-intercept form and vice versa? So this is a hint that in determining the slope and y-intercept given the equation of the line, so we have to rewrite the equation into the slope-intercept form, which is y equals mx plus b, and we have to make sure that the coefficient of y is positive 1. Then after which, the slope of the line is just the coefficient of the variable x, and the constant is the y-intercept. Example number 1, transform the equation 2x plus y is equal to 5 into slope-intercept form, and we are asked to determine the slope and the y-intercept. The slope-intercept form, so the given equation is 2x plus y is equal to 5. So take note, the goal of transforming the equation into slope-intercept form, the left side of the equation must be y. So in this case, by addition property of equality, we will subtract both sides of the equation by 2x. And that is equal to negative 2x plus 5. So in other words, basically what we are doing here is we transpose 2x to the other side of the equation. That becomes negative 2x. So note, the left side is already y and its coefficient is positive 1. So in this case, we can now determine the slope and the y-intercept. The slope is just the coefficient of x, so that is negative 2. Since slope is rise over run, so that would mean it can be expressed into negative 2 over positive 1. And the constant 5 is the y-intercept. If b is 5 or the y-intercept is 5, so therefore the ordered pair or the coordinate is 0 and 5. Now let's have example number 2. Transform the equation 3x minus 5y equals 15 into slope-intercept form and determine the slope and the y-intercept. So the given 3x minus 5y is equal to 15. So our goal is to rewrite the equation in such a way that only variable y will be left at the left side of the equation. So by virtue of the addition property of equality, we can transpose 3x to the other side. We just copy negative 5y, and that is equal to negative 3x, copy positive 15. We have to set the coefficient of y to be positive 1. So we will divide both sides of the equation with the same constant as the coefficient of y. So by dividing both sides by negative 5, so negative 5 divided by negative 5, so that would be positive y. So negative 3 divided by negative 5, so positive 3 over 5x. Then 15 divided by 5 is negative 3. So since the equation is already written in the slope-intercept form, we can now identify the slope and the y-intercept. The slope is just the coefficient of x. So that is 3 over 5. And the y-intercept is negative 3. And that will give us the coordinate or ordered pair 0 and negative 3. What if we will transform the equation from slope-intercept form to standard form? Suppose we have this example, y is equal to 3 over 5x minus 3, the previous example, and we will transform this into standard form. So again, we are dealing with rational equations, so we have to get rid of the denominator. So to get rid of the denominator, we have to multiply both sides of the equation by the LCD. So the denominator of y is 1, the denominator of 3 is 1 also, so the LCD is 5. So multiply each term by the LCD, so 5 times y, and that is equal to this term, 3 over 5x times 5, then minus 5 times 3. So further simplification, so 5y, so 3 over 5x times 5, 5 will be cancelled out, so what is left is 3x, so negative 5 times 3 is negative 15. Rewriting the equation, transpose 3x to the other side, it will turn to negative 3x. We just copy 5y, then we just copy negative 15. Notice the standard form, the first term is positive. To make negative 3x to be positive, we have to multiply both sides of the equation by negative 1. So, Negative 1 times negative 3x, that will turn to positive 3x. Positive 5y times negative 1 is negative 5y, then positive 15. Or in other words, we just change the sign of each term. So from negative, turn to positive, from positive, negative, negative, positive. The reason behind, because we multiplied the whole equation by negative 1. Now, let's have example number 4. Transform the equation y that is equal to negative 1 over 2x plus 5 over 3. So, this is the given equation. Again, we have to get rid of the denominator. So, we will multiply the whole equation by the LCD. And its LCD is positive 6. So, multiply each term. So, 6 times y, that is equal to this term times 6. 5 over 3 times 6. So, simplify. 6 and 2 has the common factor, which is 2. So, 6 divided by 2 will be 3. And 2 divided by 2 will be 1. Then, 6 and 3 have a common factor, which is 3. So, 6 divided by 3, that would be 2. 6 times y, so that is 6y. So, 3 times negative 1x is negative 3x. Then, plus times 5, that would be 10. So, rearrange the equation into standard form. Transpose 3x to the left side. So, positive 3x. Copy positive 6y. And that is equal to 10. In the previous video, we discussed how are we going to graph the equation in the Cartesian plane. So, what is the relevance of this lesson in graphing equation in the Cartesian plane? So, in this case, we are going to graph the equation using slope-intercept form. These are the steps in how are we going to graph linear equation into two variables using the slope-intercept method. First, again, we have to rewrite the equation into the slope-intercept form. That is y equals mx plus b. Then after having that one, we are going to determine the slope and the y-intercept. We need only 2 points to determine a line. So the y-intercept, which is 0 and b, will be one of that points. Then how are we going to get the second points? We will make use of the slope. If the numerator of the slope is positive, so from the y-intercept, we will count number of units going up. Then if it is negative, we will count number of units going down. So similarly, after going down or after going up, we will move horizontally, and this is our horizontal distance, and this is the change of the x coordinate. So we will moving right if it is positive, and if we will be moving left if it is negative. Then after which, since we already have the 2 points, we will draw the lines that includes the y-intercept, and this is the graph of the equation of the line. We will just label the second coordinate. Now let's have an example. Graph the equation 2x plus 4y is equal to 8. Rewrite first the equation into the slope-intercept form. 2x plus 4y equals 8. So 4y transpose 2x to the other side. That will be negative 2x plus 8. Divide both sides by 4. So 4y divided by 4 is y. So negative 2x divided by 4 is negative 1 half x. Then positive 8 divided by 4 is positive 2. So this equation is already in slope-intercept form. So therefore the slope is negative 1 half and the y-intercept is positive 2. That would mean that the coordinate is 0 and positive 2. First, we have to plot the y-intercept. So our y-intercept is 0 and 2. So 0 and 2. So this would be here. Now we already have the first point. So take note that in graphing the equation, we have to consider the slope. Our slope is negative 1 over 2, or it can be written as 1 over negative 2. So if we will consider the first slope, anyway, they are just the same. So from here, since our rise is negative 1, so from the y-intercept, we will count 1 unit going down. Then after going down, our run is positive 2. So from here, we will count 2 units going to the right. 1, 2. So and this would be the location of the second point. So we have now the first point. We have now the second point. Connect them. This is the graph of the equation 2x plus 4y, and that is equal to 8. Suppose we are considering the second slope. So our rise is positive 1. So from here, we will count 1 unit going up. Our run is negative 2. So from here, we will count 2 units going left. So this would be the location of the second point. So as you can see, if you draw a line, those 2 points are still contained by the same line. Okay? So the coordinate of the second point would be 2 and 1. So if we are getting this point, so if this will be our second point, so its coordinate is -2 and +3. How do we know that we are correct? So we can verify actually by getting the slope given these two coordinates. So as we recall, the formula in finding the slope is m is equal to y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. And let's say this is our first point and this would be our second point. So plug it into the formula. Our y sub 2 is +1 minus our y sub 1 is +2. All over, our x sub 2 is +2. Our y sub 1 is 0. Simplify. So 1 minus 2 is -1. All over 2 minus 0 is 2. So the slope is -1/2. So indeed, it is verified that the slope of this line is really -1/2. Let's try example number 6. Graph the equation 3x minus 5y equals 15. So again, we are going to translate this equation into slope-intercept form or the y form. So 3x minus 5y equals 15. So transpose 3x to the other side. That will turn to -3x. Divide both sides of the equation by -5, the coefficient of y. So -5 divided by -5, that would be +1y. Then -3x divided by -5 is +3/5x. Then 15 divided by -5, that is -3. So the slope is 3/5 and the y-intercept is -3. And the ordered pair is 0 and -3. First step, we are going to graph the y-intercept. So y-intercept is 0 and -3. So that would be 3 units down. Now, we will take the slope. We'll use the slope to find the second point. So our slope is 3/5. So that would mean from the y-intercept, our rise is +3. So 1, 2, 3. And our run is +5. So we will count 2 units going right. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this would be our second point. Connect them. And the coordinate of the second point is 5 and 0. So this is the graph of the equation 3x minus 5y equals 15. Example number 7. Graph the equation 5x plus 2y plus 7 equals 0. So again, the y form. So 2y, copy. So 5x transpose to the other side. It will become -5x. Then +7 transpose also to the other side. So that would be -7. So dividing both sides of the equation by the coefficient of y, which is +2. So therefore, our equation would be y. -5 divided by 2 is -5/2x. Then -7 divided by 2 is -7/2. So the slope is -5/2 and the y-intercept is -7/2. In decimal, this is -3.5 and will give us the ordered pair 0 and -7/2. We will now plot the coordinate in the Cartesian plane. So first, plot the y-intercept 0 and -7/2. So 7/2 in decimal, that is -3.5. So -1, -2, -3. -3.5 is somewhere at the middle of -3 and -4. So that would be here. So this would be the location of our y-intercept. Now, our slope is -5/2. So the rise is -5. So from here, we will move 5 units going down. Since our y-intercept is located at the middle, so the counting will be at the middle of each integer. From here, count 5 units going down. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is the -5 as the rise. Our run is +2. So from here, we will count 2 units going right. So that is 1 and 2. So this would be the location of the second point. Connect them. The coordinate of the second point is 2 and -17/2. And 17/2 in decimal, so that is 8.5. So the coordinate is 2, comma, negative 17 over 2. And this is the graph of the equation 5x plus 2y plus 7 that is equal to 0. And if you like this video, kindly hit the like button. And in the comment section, kindly send me your thoughts about this video and how could I possibly help you in learning math lesson in an easy way. Thank you for watching. See you in my next video.